There we go. We're live.
Hey.
I'm a little shocked because things weren't going quite the way I thought they were going to go. For those of you who don't know me, I am Planet Mitch. I go by the nickname Planet Mitch all around the world. And I'm just having a lot of fun. Mark is not going to be with us this week because he messed up his back, and he's probably going to pop in the comments and go, Mitch, don't do that. But I have a guest with me today. We're going to do Q&A, but we're going to let him do something, and then I guess Ben's going to go away. But this is Benjamin. I always call you Benjamin in my head, but I think you go by Ben.
Benjamin's fine. Hey, you.
Hey, you. Want to make sure everybody can hear us, but Benjamin is the project manager, if that's the correct title, for UpViral.
Yeah. So, the product manager.
Product manager.
Yeah. So I've been working with UpViral now since the start of the year. So not a long time, but I've been responsible for driving the new update that we've just pushed out, and driving a lot of the internal changes and development and the teams, really trying to push UpViral to being a pretty fantastic product. So that's really what I've been working on for the last 6 months.
Yes, you have, and I can attest because I periodically get about an ounce of Benjamin time to plug his ears full of all kinds of stuff that I want, because it's all about me.
Yes, of course.
Yes, it is. Thank you for admitting that. And since Mark's not here, we can't.
That is off record, yes? It's off record.
No. That's on record. You've just been recorded. For those people who always ask the question, yes, these are recorded. They will be in the unit section of the UpViral group. And they will eventually also, sort of, depending upon Benjamin's team, be added to your... I have to say that because, Mark is always saying you guys are so lazy and just have nothing to do. I'm joking.
And you wonder how he hurt his back?
I do want to know, by the way, if you have the official glass of the Copilot show. You probably don't know this. You probably don't know this, but Mark and I have the same glass that has these little circles in it.
Oh, that's nice. No, I'm a little bit more industrial.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So I got a couple of people. This is a Q&A day, and I see a couple of names of people that have submitted questions that I have pre-prepared. But before we get into questions, Benjamin's here to help us understand a little bit of what's coming, and then he's just going to disappear because he doesn't want to hear me ramble. We'd rather have him doing work. Or going to bed, or whatever time of day it is.
Yeah, almost bedtime. So I'll hang around to answer questions that people may have about the platform, what's coming up, stuff like that.
Cool.
I will try and limit how excited I get about functions and features that I'm planning.
Well, do you see this? This is where we're happy that Mark's not here, because you might give us more. Because Mark might go, no.
Yeah. I might get a little more excited.
I know you're excited, and I do want to say, first of all, thank you for you and all the team. The progress that's been made this year is phenomenal. The new user interface is leaps and bounds. Some people say there's not another new functionality, but man, I know behind the scenes how hard that was to get that into place. And kudos to the whole team.
Well, yeah, the team has worked incredibly hard for the last 6 months. Has just been working on this interface, really just trying to reduce the amount of effort and pain from starting a campaign to getting it live. So we really want to focus on providing functionality that makes it easier. Do you know what I mean? So it's not just easier on creating and setting a campaign live, but also on, once it's live, where's the information on what do I do next? How do I know it's working, and what is working, what isn't working, and then what can I do about that? So that's kind of leading into the reporting. I know for a fact that a lot of people were very unhappy with the reporting. Completely understand. There were even I was unhappy with it. is what it is. And I think that the update that we'll have a look at in the next couple of minutes might be a little bit more pleasing to many people.
Yes, I will say yes.
Yeah. Shall I start?
Yes, please do.
Okay. So a little caveat. The data in here is all dummy data. So do not look at the numbers. It is just purely dummy data. And I'll just quickly run through. I can. Okay. So giving you the ability to add filtering within your reporting, all time, custom, stuff like that. But when you add a filter, say the last 15 days, we're going to start adding a prior to previous increase or decrease modification. So if you had 15 days, then the 15 days prior to that is what it will show you the difference to. Okay. Across the top, so the main bar, when you come into reporting, across the top, you'll see your direct visits and the direct, the referred, and then the total. So you can see in this example, we've had 540 visits and 650 leads, which is, that math doesn't work out, but
right.
Yeah. But you can see here, and this is my conversion rate. This is for direct visits to leads. So how well is my direct converting? In referred, same concept. Referred visits are up 14% from the previous period. And I've had 417 leads from 250 visits. And here's the conversion rate from that. So you can see that my direct might be converting terribly, or my referred is converting terribly. And then we have, the gold. What is my actual total visits to total lead conversion rate? So across the top, instantly, how well is my campaign doing, and a little bit of drill down, referred and direct.
Yes.
The viral coefficient, a little bit on what we're doing there. There was a lot of conversation that the compound conversion rate was confusing for many people.
Yes.
So we are for many people. So we're moving away from that compound conversion rate, and we're moving into creating a coefficient, or actually we're going to be changing that, but a viral score, putting together quite a complex math behind scoring how viral a campaign is going. So it's a big project, a lot of math with a lot of variables, but we're taking something like 40 to 45 different data points from within a single campaign. Nice. To then score that. Nice. So you just know, similar to like a Moz score, like the SEO Moz score. That's the concept we're going for.
Yeah, perfect.
So instantly, sorry.
I was just going to say, and you're going to give us all the detailed secrets about what that formula is, right? Okay.
No.
I like to keep the show a little light.
Of course. So the other thing, this is still not finished. We are working on this day and night. Some of the dashboard, like the main dashboard, will change. We've got a few different graphs to come in here, but this is representational. But the idea with the main dashboard is just purely in one thing. I want to see the health. I want to see everything that's going on within my campaign, right? So we're going to have a lot more from, my social, my custom action, stuff like that, all within here. But for now, we just have nice graphs across the top. And now I can see, again, a different conversion. So I'm seeing my direct visitors and my referred visitors. And what's the percentage difference? And what's the conversion there? And then traffic. So direct leads to referred leads. What's the percentage there? So this is top level. Once we start to try and drill down, we'll go into our traffic. So we break it down: visitors, leads, and then conversion. So first off, let's say that this is one of my sources. Let's say Facebook, right? So we have in total. So if you can see in the I can't move the mouse around, but you can see 4 direct and referred. So nice. Each element has different data, right? So my direct users, 55. Now, what is the percentage of the direct traffic? Because we're in visitors. So what's the percentage of traffic that this takes up? So this is currently 68% of that, all of that source, and the total by source is 80, right? The percentage by source is what percentage of all of my traffic is Facebook.
Nice.
So in this one thing you can see, and same with referred. So the total by source stays the same because that is source level, and then you can do my direct numbers and percentage and my referred numbers and percentage. And of course you can do filtering. Same concept with leads, exactly the same concept with leads. Gives me my conversions, gives me my source, so I can actually see Facebook is sending this many direct leads and this many and so on. And then conversion. So conversion here is the total conversion rate against everything.
Nice.
Did I get that right?
I don't know.
No. Yeah.
I haven't seen this yet, Ben. You haven't let me in there yet. So this is my first time seeing it. You know, I will dive in and look in detail in this.
Yes, of course. So like I said, we're still working out a couple of bits and pieces. So actions, we are breaking out custom actions and social actions and everything into an actions field. That isn't finished, so I've got nothing to show you at that point.
Okay.
In the leads, we will see, again, out a direct and referral and traffic. And then I have my conversion for that specific day. You see there's a little bit of a wonky here. So on the 10th February or 11th of Feb, my conversion was 43%. That was my day, the conversion for that day. My total visitors, my total leads, broken down on that single day. Very simple. So I can mouse it and I can see at any point. We know we've got a little bug there. So you can see it'll update quite nicely. And that will work with referral and total, of course, as well. Email, I have... So how many emails have gone out, how many unconfirmed, how many were opened, how many unopened, what's my percentage? And then based on whatever email by category, so if you've got incentive, so emails going out per incentive or whatever, thank you, sign-ups, and you can start to see the open rate based on what it is in an instance.
Yes.
Fraud, very, very similar. You know, how many fraud leads do I have? And then what was the fraud category? What was the reason for fraud? So one of the things I can let you know is we just started the process of updating our email validation service. So currently we ask people if they want to do email validation to use Email Verify, which requires a separate account.
Right.
We are about to start, it's, you know, a few weeks off, or maybe a month off. We're going to release a built-in email verification. It's a paid upgrade, so you'll be paying like per email, but it's you know, a smidgen of a cent per email.
Hold on, Ben.
Yep. Woohoo! What happened?
I rang the bell for you. That's something that a lot of people have been looking for, so I'm excited about it. Woohoo!
Oh, fantastic. The benefit of the verification, the validation, is that we'll get a lot more granular on. It's not just this is a fraud attempt based on IP address,
right,
but we will do deliverability of the email. We'll do spell. We'll do age of the email. We can do if this email is a throwaway email. So we can actually start to do a lot deeper validation as soon as it comes in. So we can validate the lead before it hits the autoresponder.
Woohoo!
So that's something.
I can't tell you how exciting that is. I know a lot of people don't necessarily think about that, but when you start running multiple campaigns and the amount of potential junk that you get, especially, you know, I've had a campaign where one guy went in and manually entered 600 different emails because he wanted to win. That kind of stuff drives me bonkers. So I'm really excited about this. Yeah.
So it'll pick up things like, you know, Ben +1 at UpViral, Ben +2 at, it'll pick that stuff up for you.
Great.
And then post it in there. So that's something I want to get out. It shouldn't take us too long. but it's just going to be a big help. Additionally, it's not just it'll help with the leads and the quality of leads and that, but also if you're using your own email servers, it's going to increase the health of your own email server. So if you're using SendGrid or AWS to send out your email notifications, validating before the notification gets sent out means less bounces, less spam, less junk. So the health of your account is just going to increase, and a healthier account means more deliverability, means better campaigns.
Absolutely. I mean, I hope people out there that are watching are just jumping up and down, because that's going to change a whole lot of attitudes about the quality of contest leads. Right? So many people say, oh, contest leads never buy. They're a bunch of spam. They're just junk. People enter their worst email, blah, 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 blah. I'm tired of hearing all that. And this will set UpViral apart from all the other services.
Exactly.
I mean, that's a major change.
Yeah. Yes, Martin, I agree. It is fabulous news. And it's just simple on or off. The rough thing is, like I said, it's a paid service, but you'll buy a pack of, 100,000 leads validation, and it will just slowly churn away in the background. So I like it. Click, turn on, done. Nice. And you can do it by campaign too. So if you don't want to run it on every campaign, you're not running it on every campaign. So that's something I'm looking forward to getting out soon.
So is that, Mike wants to know, is that a third-party service, or is that something you guys are actually building?
No. That's a partnership we're entering into. They are probably rated the best validation provider, used by, Uber, Netflix, like all of the big guys. So that's a partnership we're entering into. I'd love to do it, but just,
I know.
The development team need to focus on reporting and building a good UpViral product.
But I also want to answer the questions as they come in. So there's a couple others we want to get to, but I wanted you to finish what you're doing.
No, so that's quick overview of the reporting. I will stop sharing now.
In terms of John T. S., can you give an example of actions, please? You're talking about custom actions, right?
Exactly. Yeah, custom actions. So for me, custom actions are a real PowerPoint for any campaign, especially if you have a specific goal, such as, it's not just signing up to a newsletter, but a specific goal. Like, I want people to watch a video. I want people to visit a specific page and read a blog post and actually spend 5 minutes on the page getting to the bottom of it. Do you know, like I want my competition entrants to actually engage with whatever my product is to my goal. So for me, custom actions is super important. And I've got a whole heap of stuff built around how do we track custom actions? How do we better do custom actions? So previously, it's just been, like follow us on Twitter, which is great. So you can see in this update, we've started to try and beef up the concept of what you can do with the custom action to help people kind of find creative ways of getting people to engage with your content.
Yeah.
So when we can start matching up tracking with these custom actions, then it starts to be a real powerhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the actions.
Yeah. Brilliant. And because I've hassled you about this plenty, data is critical. And most people don't look closely enough at the data. They just kind of hope that the thing's running. And yet when they get to the end, they go, well, why didn't that work? Well, you could have looked at some of that stuff while the campaign was going. And I'll compare. There's several other tools that I have tested on the market. And one of them in particular that's very popular, which I won't name, has an entire reporting of one line. How many people entered? How many people converted? What's the conversion rate? And I'm like, why do people look at this stuff? Because it's useless. There's no data behind it. And I kudos to UpViral. It's one of the reasons why I love UpViral so much is the amount of data that you can get out of here. So,
and that's like data for me. I'm a bit of a data freak, and trying to connect social and usability data with conversion data has been a passion of mine for the last, like even my last product was focused around conversion tracking from ads through chat, you know. So yeah, I completely agree that data is a pivotal point to making any campaign. The difficulty in data is I don't want to overload people with just spreadsheets of information, because it's as bad as nothing. Too much is as bad as nothing. Yeah, getting that data presented in a way that gives you something actionable. That's our goal, is like, sure, you've got this conversion rate, but what do you do? Is that good? Is that bad? What do you do to increase it? That's what I'm trying to eventually sort of start to drill into.
Great. So there's a question from Mike that actually asks that. It says, once you have your analytics and reporting perfected, then please develop a tool that will give suggested ways to improve campaign performance. Right? Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. So
you're going.
I can sense Mark going, don't you say a thing. I think I can say that we already have a fairly well fleshed out plan on something we can do that might help that.
Great.
I think that's about all I'm going to say. I'll get myself into trouble.
That's perfectly fine. And Johan asked the question, I would like to see a GIF or a similar visual showing the viral coefficient. This will assist, and the reason I wanted to ask this, explaining to sponsors what they're getting involved in. Because part of the problem is that, you know, we have to, some of us who are working with clients have to be able to communicate. They don't get access, right, to the UpViral stats. So we kind of do screen grabs and go, all right, here it is. But so he's kind of asking, is there another similar way to show what that number will mean? Because, you know, we'll be screen grabbing this and giving it to our clients. It's a great question. So
that is a really good question, actually. I'm going to be honest, I haven't thought about presentation to a third party.
He's going to make a note.
Yes.
Mark, we got to do this, because it was asked for on the co-pilot show. It wasn't Mitch, it was somebody else.
Okay.
But I mean, that is what we do. And I know you guys have talked about doing agency view, blah, blah, blah. But many people just need help here. Yeah,
totally understand. So what we do need to make sure is there is a downloadable PDF. So that there's a downloadable PDF. Look, that's something I'm definitely going to put thought into and make sure that we address. Because, yeah, totally. There was another question about analytics. Someone was talking about Google Analytics. I'm just having a look through the questions. Actually, Matteo, Active Campaign. Going to make an announcement about Active Campaign in about a month and a half. An exciting one. There was another one about...
You're supposed to just be answering my question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
Measuring. Okay, so Google Analytics goals is a KPI. One of the things I've been working on is about updating our analytics engine. So how we track, say, conversion data or behavioral stuff on your own website, right? So rather than trying to interact with Google Analytics, we're looking at how we can create. Well, yeah, it is quite powerful, but also their API is limited. It doesn't give flexibility. So I'm looking at how we can provide essentially our own analytics engine without all of the fuss of Google, which will allow you essentially to create a goal, such as visiting a thank you page. That is a KPI goal. I want this campaign. I want a referral lead to visit a thank you page or whatever. So that's something very, very already in the works. How can I do better with analytics specifically for that custom actions of behavioral? There's, a lot of people want, like, I want to pop up. I want to have my widget timed. So after, 25 seconds on a specific site, the widget will pop up. So providing an analytics engine that will allow that type of functionality is also in the works.
Cool. Really cool stuff.
Now I definitely know I'm giving away too much.
We know there aren't any other competitors watching this. It's okay.
No. And I will make a caveat because I can hear Mike and Wilco in the background, in the back of my head. These are short and long-term goals. This is not stuff we're going to be releasing in the next week. These are short and long-term goals, but I want UpViral users to know that the next 6 months, I have so much planned. There's literally not enough hours in the day for me to try and get it out. So the next 6 to 8 months, even the next 12 months, the stuff that we're going to be releasing is, it excites me. So just, yeah.
And that's why I'm excited. And, I keep asking you tons of other questions because now I'm lit because, I've been asking for many of these things for a while and I'm lit up because I'm starting to see the power, the additional power, because UpViral is already the best tool in the market. Oh. And you guys don't pay me to say that. So there.
No.
Steve asked the question, about the email rejection. Does it say, or we have the ability to give the user a message that says, we aren't accepting you, that's a horrible email? Or is it just bouncing back in?
It'll just essentially it'll act in the same way as a fraud lead does. Okay. If it hits one of these, if it isn't valid, it'll just push into there and you'll get a notification on what the reason was. Okay. So I haven't built out any kind of, what do I do with that? Like, do I edit the email and then it will automatically send, or, so there's still a little bit of functionality we have to do. Okay. But it'll function that same way as a fraud lead.
So I love to give you feedback.
Yeah.
From a client perspective, I'm with Steve. I would much rather it tell the user at the time they're trying to enter it, no, we see what the hell you're doing here. Stop trying to frickin' cheat, as opposed to it happening on the back end. Right?
Yes. So here's a question for you in the audience then. If we were to do that, you'd end up paying, because it's paying per validation. Sure. And if you're validating on input, then they may take 3 attempts and that's going to cost you 3 validations. Uh-huh. If it just validates on submission, you're only going to be doing 1 of your validation costs. So that's really going to be down to, like, I don't want to waste people's money, but I also want to make sure that they have all of the functions. So maybe we can look at doing something like turn it on input or just submission.
My answer to your question, and of course I would love to hear what everybody else says, but because I'm willing to pay for that, because that would turn down people that just sit there and try to cheat, right? Because they're doing that. And especially on referrals, right? So I register and I see that I can win something for 5 referrals. So I'm just going to bang in 5 different fake emails. And right now, there's nothing to stop those people. And there's no warning. There is the CAPTCHA, right? That will pop up. Yeah. But I told you this guy did 600 referrals, banging through that CAPTCHA every time. He had time on his hands. So if I could stop those in the front, I'd be willing to pay extra for that. But I don't know what everybody else has to pay.
Well, I mean, Mike and Johan are both, on input. Yep. So, yeah, absolutely. Will the software strip out the invalid emails? It'll function the same as a fraud.
Right.
So if it's invalid, it bounces, like it's got a low deliverability, or it's known. So one of the other things is we'll actually start to keep a pool of known bad emails that we can kind of check internally for you. So if we find that there is, people spamming across everyone's campaign, then we can have an internal kind of balance sheet as well.
Nice. That would be great. I've had those people too.
Well, it's a big community. It's a big community. And one person is going to try and, scam 50, 60 campaigns. So they're going to use the same, just because the customers, you guys aren't connected, doesn't mean that we can't do something internal. So I
like Mike's comment. I prefer a diagnosis.
Yeah, that's good. I just read that too.
That's why I was laughing a second ago.
That's good. Yeah. So they will be cheap. Like I said, it's a smittance of a cent. But the quality,
For those, if you think about it, if I could get much higher quality leads that are much more interested, it's going to save me money in my autoresponder. It's going to save me. It's worth every freaking quarter of a cent that you pay for those things.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got goosebumps. I'm so excited about that one. I really am.
Fantastic.
Emails affect our autoresponder rankings, Mike says. I'd prefer to pay for multiple validations.
Yeah, they do. Like the health of, if you're using AWS or SendGrid and you're pumping out notifications to low quality emails, the health of your account and the deliverability, it's just destroyed.
Nobody else is doing it. All right, Dar asked the question, and I'm going to point this out because, frankly, I've been asking this for a while. You know that. Referrals versus points. Can we separate getting most points to win versus must refer 3 people to unlock a bonus, right? So what he's really asking is and it's in the, last time I looked, in the feature request board, it's in the in work section, but it's been in the in work section for a while. And that is, can we please have the ability to, in the incentive section, say, I only want to award this if they really refer 3 people, and not have to rig the points to figure out whether or not they've really done this or not. A lot of people ask me this, Ben, which is why I continue to hammer on this one. And I know Wilco and I had a discussion 6 months ago about whether that would complicate the tool too much. And I'm like, no, we can figure this out. But anyway, people have to kludge the points in order to try to figure out this. And it became infinitely worse with custom actions, because you can no longer separate. You want to give somebody 100 points for custom actions. Well, is that worth more than the referral? No. So you bump the referral, it gets messy.
Yeah. So I'll take you, Mitch, back to a conversation we had recently about points and some confusion about how points are rewarded and managed, if you recall that conversation. So there is a conversation happening internally on how we can rethink that section. So this would probably work alongside that.
Yes.
Caveat, it's not something that we're going, it's in conversation at the moment. But it's definitely something that, absolutely. It needs to make sense, and referrals over points needs to make sense.
Yay. Happy to have conversation anytime you want. I
know I'm going to get in trouble. I'm giving away so much. I'm going to get in so much trouble.
But it's already on the in work part of the sheet. You're not saying anything that we don't already know. Now, I did want to go back because you talked about the report, and before we started the show, what's the time frame on those current changes that you're working on?
The reporting. So I was actually hoping that we would get it out this week. So that's how close we are to updating the reporting. I don't think it'll be this week. There's a lot going on at the moment. So I would probably say at the outside, I'm just looking at a calendar. On the outside, it's probably going to be early August.
Okay.
On the outside, we'll get that whole reporting dashboard released. It won't have stuff like downloadable. It's just a matter of like getting it out there. I know. That's a whole.
But it's
whole
progress. Right now, we all know that that's not working the way it is. So any first step is positive at this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like really a challenge to figure out, especially if you got a client, to tell them what's really going on.
I completely understand. I feel everyone's pain on this. It's been like there's a lot of resource on this right now, trying to just get this done, get it out as quickly as possible. So, I would love to get it out this week. I would love that. I don't think it'll happen this week, but it's really close. It is very, very, very close to being pushed out.
All right. So in terms of questions, and thank you for taking the time to answer questions.
No, of course.
Where did the one go that I was going to ask that I had marked? Here it is. Peter, new custom actions sound very interesting. I assume there will be training videos to go with this. Now, if I may say, if I can jump ahead of the Ben answer, custom actions right now, I mean, Ben's not talking about really a change. Well, some of it potentially long-term, how the advanced features of how you can create a custom action and how you could potentially implement it. But right now, you can have a custom action that goes to virtually any URL on the planet. And you could turn a question into something very valuable, like you were talking about. If somebody has to watch 5 minutes of a video to get the answer, so you say, some question that would only be answered if they got to that certain question, you can do that stuff now. You just have to kind of really put some thought in it, as opposed to shoving it up there.
Yeah. The concept of how we did that sort of click to build a question. That concept
awesome.
was, thank you. I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
The goal was about how can we empower people to kind of start being creative with a custom action. We didn't want to do like just another button to go this. It's like, how can you build stuff? So the more creative you can get, use it as a kickoff point. A video on YouTube, that's fine, but it's about being creative. So there's only so much training you can give on here's a starting point and be as creative as you want. When we start to look at how we can track custom actions and build that kind of tracking connected to it, that's when we're going to have to be a little bit more focused on this is a custom action and this is the goal. So there's kind of a little bit of limitation within a trackable custom action. But one of the things I'm doing is actually just watching the custom actions people build to see the difference and the way that people are using it, and taking that back and then sort of going, okay, so what are people doing with it? How are they starting to use it? The best way to develop a product is to see how people don't use it the way you wanted them to use it. How are they hacking it? And that's kind of the custom action stuff. Yeah.
And in terms of that, by the way, Peter, I have a massive list because I'm kind of doing what Ben's doing, but I'm doing it on the front end. When somebody comes up with an idea of a new custom action, I put it in my list. So start paying attention to what other people are doing. Always pay attention to what other people are doing, because there's a lot of great ideas. I mean, even in the case studies, go back and look at the case studies, especially the one for the Bunky campaign, because we all talk about David all the time about some of the custom actions that he had. There's some great nuggets in there, and think about how you could twist that into your own potential thing. Steve says, how about a summary report of top metrics, maybe where we can see healthy/good campaigns, kind of on a campaign level? This is something that I typically try to do as well.
Yeah.
Is there a way of comparing campaign A to campaign B, and is that the viral coefficient or the whatever you're looking at?
Yeah. So that's pretty much one of the functions of this viral score, is to be, because that viral score will take so many different data points, it will allow you to then compare, how successful was this campaign against any other campaign. We actually find that users only have a few campaigns in their account. So we're not really looking at like one in an agency's version. That's a different conversation. But for a general user, it's more sort of simple account level metrics. But that's essentially the goal of that viral score, the virality score. So I got big plans for that virality score.
Yeah, I know you do. I'm so excited.
I know.
You guys, you guys would be really geeked out if you saw some of the conversations we get to have. And speaking of that, please, can we have a 10, 15-minute conversation about the way the custom actions kind of sort of work? And I don't want to get into that here.
Yes, I also have some changes coming into custom actions as well. So that like everything we have currently released is in constant flow. We will not it's not just there you go, that's it, we're done. It's like every single function has to be better. Every single step has to be better. How can we make it easier? How can we make it more functional? How can we make it more powerful and less work? So custom actions, that's the start. We've just done this big release but like I said, over the next 6 to 12 months, there's constant changes and updates we're going to be doing to make it better and more functional. It's nothing will be static. Nothing is static.
So from a user's perspective, you guys were implementing a changelog. Is that going to be continued to be updated? Because sometimes we don't see the changes. Please?
Yes. Yes.
I know it takes time to do it. It takes somebody away from doing other stuff, but it's kind of hard to just stumble into new changes.
Totally agree. We're looking at releasing a notification system within the an alerts and notification system within the dashboard. Again, no ETA on that, but it's not a year away. It's something I want to try and do because again, it's linked to other functions and features that benefit. You can set a goal, stuff like that. So there's lots connected. So yes, that is coming, connected to a whole heap of other functions.
All right. We got about 15 minutes left, so I'm gonna.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it goes fast. I had a whole bunch of questions lined up, but this is a really cool conversation, and I really appreciate you being here. I'm saying the 15-minute warning for those people that want to ask a question of Ben while we happen to have him. This is your I don't want to say last chance, but
no, not the last. We
want Ben working, so we don't want to bother him too often. But we got 15 more minutes, so you better freaking ask your question if you want to ask it.
Martin, no. Blockbuster Kodak. No.
Well, frankly, though, that's a great point. I mean, because for those of you maybe watching the replay and can't see the question, Martin just said, brilliant to hear this. I would hate to see UpViral become a Blockbuster or a Kodak. From an end user's perspective, the reason I'm, like I said earlier, I'm so excited is because the passion that Mark has. I've seen Wilco have this new passion. And when you get a chance to talk to Ben like this, and you see how animated he is, and I'm doing it again, I'm getting goosebumps because for years, and Wilco has said this multiple times, I'm not saying anything that's not untrue that he doesn't say himself. It's been kind of stagnant, right? We've asked for some changes and they come periodically. And to see this love that you have, the passion to be able to go, there, this has got me lit up. And I'm so excited about the future. And yes, there's going to be bugs. And yes, there's going to be things that don't quite work the way maybe I wish they work or whatever. But just to have this ability to see the light in your eyes just floats me up.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been marketing for the last 20 something years. I've been doing software development for the last 15 many years. I can't quite remember. So one of the yeah, I know, it's the great. One of the things that I've always tried to do when doing anything, whether it's a campaign for a client, building software, it doesn't matter. It's not to be another run. It's not to, like, I don't want to just copy what everything else is there. Do you know what I mean? Because great ideas, great functionality. I'm not putting anyone else down, but there's always another way to do it. And we're trying to leverage, the marketing knowledge, the domain experience, and how and you know the software, the UX of how do I make it easier. There's a thing I call mumizing, which is how can I make it so easy that my mum can use it. And that's the approach I'm taking to everything. How can you run, you know, a marketing campaign, a global marketing campaign that generates 1 million leads, but how can you do it in a way that you could sit your mother down and she could do it?
Right.
And you don't do that by just being another run. And being another run, you end up as a blockbuster. You know, we're just in the big field. So, so that's you know, the whole team is approaching it like that. Is like, how can we make this an enterprise level tool, but anyone can do it. Anyone can use it, while still having massive power. So power user like, you know, yourself and most of these guys. How can you still get out everything you want without too much? So it's a kind of a balance, but
it is a balance, especially when the other tools are marketing, hey, you can create a campaign in 5 minutes. And I'm like, I don't want to be able to create a campaign in 5 minutes, because that means you guys have dumbed it down so much that it's useless for anybody that wants to do some extra stuff, which is, again, why I love UpViral so much, because there is so much functionality. And somebody mentioned it earlier about it's a little complicated still to use, but you're working on that. And that's the joy, especially the fact that you, Ben, talked about looking at what other people are doing, right? You're going into the campaigns that people have and seeing how they're using the features. So totally different than what we've ever seen from a vendor before. So I love that. And I'll quit blowing smoke. All right. Johan asks, can I have a manual trigger to qualify a custom action?
So as I was saying a little bit earlier, we're looking at deploying a better analytics engine. That maybe that's not going to answer the question.
No.
I wonder about a manual trigger.
So what he's asking is, I send somebody off to a website, and I ask them to do something, and bad example, but the YouTube video, watch 5 minutes, right? Obviously, the question would be, could there be a chunk of code that I could put on that site, assuming it maybe is my own site, that verifies that they actually did the thing, as opposed to just asking them a question?
Yeah. So with the planned analytics engine that we should get out, that's going to give us the ability to do similar to how a custom event in Google Analytics works. That you can, like a specific, like click a button, for instance, or time on page will trigger an event. So that analytics engine will give us the ability to do that type of triggering and tracking. So when I was talking about tracking, that's kind of what I meant. Like, it's not just a page view. And to coming to what you were just saying about you've got a power user and a mum user, like you know, a mum and dad business isn't necessarily going to be building custom actions that have, you know, detailed triggers. So we're going to have a different version, an advanced user type version, and a like a pro and an experience or something like that. So these are the things we're currently working on. Yeah.
And Johan just followed that up with, could we do an offline event? Not so sure. I mean, one of the things,
that's kind of hard.
Yeah. One of the things I've thought about, by the way, was to have like an event triggered inside an email that says, go read the email that we just sent you, right? To get people to back into the idea of opening their emails, right? To get their open rates up and all that other stuff. So right now what we do is we, inside the email, we put a note that says, go back to, you know, do the custom action. But if it were kind of pointed the other direction, that would be cool too.
It's possible. But when it's offline, like visit my shop, that's possible. Not, and I'm going to say this, we will probably not build that level of tracking. That is, you know, not until we're $1 billion company. But we're rebuilding our APIs to be far more robust. Part of that will give us the ability to open up this type of tracking and functionality via API. So I'm just kind of riffing a little bit on it. But let's say you were going to so Facebook has offline conversion tracking. So you go into stores, stuff like that. I think, who is it? Foursquare. Is it Foursquare still around? Foursquare.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they do like geographic. So they actually have geographic, like location-based stuff. And there are services that will do, when your phone comes in within, Bluetoothy type, there are triggers that can be done. So with opening up the API, again, it's about how creative can you be. And it would also open up any vendors who are offline tracking, that it'll give them the opportunity to go and build directly onto like a semi-native integration within a marketplace or something like that.
Right.
That they can start building these, offline stuff.
Right.
So it's a hard one because offline tracking is very, very hard when it's online.
Right. If I can, because I think Art's got a really good point. What about a QR code that you could say you printed a QR code and had it at your desk and say, all right, you guys go to my store. There's a QR code, scan it, and that will instantly give you the points. That's a really cool offline idea.
That is, actually. I'm going to write that down.
See, I love this. This is great.
So that, again, that comes down to when we have the analytics engine, then we can start to build that type of thing. So that's a great idea. I think someone else just released QR codes. One of our competitors just released QR codes as well.
Oh, no. So you don't want to do it because they did it, right? No.
No. We'll just do it better.
There you go. Amal asks, because we're starting to run out of time.
Sorry.
Everybody loves hearing this stuff. This is awesome. Really appreciate your time. Email reports, I see 1580 emails sent and 3105 opened. So right now, the email stats aren't necessarily correct, right? I mean, it's showing more emails open than actually sent. So we're going to get that cleaned up, right?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Like the stat, it's just part of the reporting update. A lot of this will, right. So just bear with us. Bear with me.
So, there you are. Adrian asked a question, and I know the answer to this. I get 2 download buttons on the share page, one for blah, 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 blah. The issue is with the template that you've selected. Okay, there are different templates that do the incentives differently. And so the quick answer, Adrian, is to go pick a different template. The question to Ben is, are we going to get some different templates, and what's the status of the editor? And I know Mark doesn't want me to ask that question.
Well, the status of the editor is there is a status. It is an editor, and it may or may not have a large number of updated templates that may or may not have more or less functionality that we currently may or may not have.
Perfect. But and that's coming somewhere in the near future.
Yes, yeah. So we're in kind of an architecture phase at the moment that is relooking at how we deliver our service globally, because over the last year or so, UpViral is used in America, Brazil, Germany, France, Thailand, like all over the world. So it's really had to make us sort of think about how, as a functional product, we can maintain a global presence. So I got totally lost then. I lost my train of thought.
So we're just going to jump ahead. We got 4 minutes.
Thank
Steve
you.
says, will it be possible to filter metrics by geographic location or other user segments?
With the advanced reporting that is with the analytics, then that is something that should happen. Yes.
And just to be clear, the advanced stuff will probably be extra charge.
Probably will be, yeah. Advanced reporting is more load on servers, and it's only advanced users that are going to want that advanced reporting. Yeah, that's you exactly. So, there will be. We're not just in the industry of trying to rip people off and hide functionality just because it'll make us an extra buck. But again, it's that balance between making it easy for most, but still powerful for others without cluttering the two. So there will have to be a separation. So that is something that will happen.
And the key is that most people don't think about is that support costs and programming costs have to be recovered. You can't just absorb everything. We don't want you to be a blockbuster because you spent so much money that you have to go out of business.
Yes.
In that regard, Ben, there are quite a few people like me that have the original lifetime offer. Will there be some sort of a way to take that? Go ahead.
I don't have any answer on that one. That's something Wilco's. It's not been discussed, but there will have to be a conversation on that. But that's not my place to answer right at the moment. So,
and we just want to make sure that we don't get forgotten.
Of course not.
We don't necessarily, some of us probably do, expect everything that you guys ever add onto the tool to be totally free. But we also, anyway, we won't go into that anymore. I can go down that road. I think I've answered that question. You've answered this question. Oh, this question we haven't asked. And this is kind of complicated. Richard says, how do I get my YouTube campaign to land on my opt-in page? Opt-ins cannot land on app.upviral.com as they do not have a password. So let me take this right off the bat because I saw this question in the questions that were submitted. Richard, what you're trying to do is, and I see this happen all the time, especially when people say, hey, Mitch, or hey, Copilot team, can you review my campaign? And what they do is they take the app.upviral.com URL that's like the edit my campaign link. What you need to do, Richard, is to go to the promote tab and grab the link that is your promotional, the link that you're supposed to share everywhere. And by the way, a bonus tip, go learn how to do the custom tracking links so that you can drive down into your data. So when you share it on YouTube, you get all of the data from just those people coming in. And if you share it on Facebook, you get that data separated. The custom tracking links inside UpViral are freaking awesome, but most people don't know that they're there. So, but if you're trying to give somebody a URL that says app.upviral. That means they have to have a login. We don't want to be giving out that kind of a URL. Use the URL in the promote tab. Now, the other side of that is I also know that YouTube will only let you post URLs that are in your domain. So hint there is to go create a custom domain, which the instructions are inside of UpViral. By the way, I want to tell you that you guys have steps 1 and 2 reversed. You've got to do step 2 before you can do step 1. That's a side topic. I need to report that one. But custom domains, again, I'm going to toot UpViral's horn because some of the other vendors charge you $150 a month for that. And you get one of those even in the basic lowest level for no additional charge in UpViral. So take advantage of that.
Yeah, custom domains are very powerful. Very, very powerful. Especially if you want to run ads too. You can't run ads with that. Yeah.
Well, Larry says, Wilco says there will not be another lifetime offer. Yes, he has said that multiple times. Anyway, we won't get into that. So we're at the hour. I think I've answered everybody's questions, or we've answered them. Yep. So happy to have had you here. Been a great hour. I know there were a whole lot of questions that were submitted in the form. So if you go back to sign up again, you can ask a question, or you can ask it in the UpViral group. I do answer questions there all the time. If you want to review, go back to the to sign up for this, put your URL, and this is where I say, please put in the promote URL, because there are 20 different URLs that have been submitted, and I don't have access to everybody's campaign. So I cannot take the URL that you guys are putting in that says app.upviral.com and do anything with it. So if you want to submit for a campaign review, I got to have the promotion. And the other thing is make sure that the dang thing is turned on, because I get in there and it says this campaign is not running. So I can't give you a review if it's not running. That's my rant for the day. Thank you so much, Benjamin, for being here.
Absolutely.
Loved
Absolute
it.
pleasure.
Love to have you back, but I know I want you over there developing.
Well, yeah, I'll definitely come back. There's a lot to keep talking about, so I'll definitely be back.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And
Right.
we will talk to all y'all next week. Make sure you sign up to get notifications. Replays are definitely put in the app. See, now I'm saying it so much. In the UpViral group, they're always stored there. So you can always get access to the replays. Steve says, great show. Deborah says, great session. Thank you. Peter says, back to the rock pile. Many thanks. Linda says, thank you both. AJ says, oh,
hey,
gosh. Ben,
it's the beard.
To date. I don't have a beard.
No, I've got enough for both of us.
All right. Thanks a lot, Ben. We will talk to you again soon.
Thanks, guys. Pleasure to talk.